All right, let's talk about something we all think we understand: time. We tend to think of it as this constant thing, right? Like a river just flowing at one steady speed. But it's not. Not at all. Your perception of time is incredibly flexible. It stretches, it shrinks, and honestly, understanding how your brain actually builds time is one of the most powerful things you can do to get a handle on your mood, your stress, and even the story you tell yourself about your own life. I mean, think about this for a second, because we've all been there. You have an amazing day, maybe the best day of a vacation, and it feels like it's over in a blink. But then, a few weeks later, you look back, and that one single day feels enormous, packed with details, like it was a whole week. It's a total paradox, and by the end of this, I promise you, you'll know exactly why your brain plays this little trick on you. So here's our game plan. We're going to start big with the massive biological clocks that run our years and our days. Then we're going to zoom right into the 90-minute cycle that you can use for deep focus. From there, we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the actual brain chemicals that literally bend time. Then, we'll solve that vacation mystery. And finally, we'll talk about how you can use all of this to feel more in control of your time. Okay, first things first. We have to get this one core idea. Our bodies are not operating in a vacuum. They are constantly, and I mean constantly, trying to sync up with the world around us, from the seasons changing to the sun coming up. And this whole process has a name. It's called entrainment. Think of it like your body is a musician, and the outside world, the sun, the seasons, is the conductor. Entrainment is the process of getting in rhythm with that conductor. It is the absolute foundation for every single internal clock we have, from the longest to the very shortest. So the biggest rhythm we've got is the yearly one, what scientists call the circannual rhythm. And it's actually super simple. When the days are long, like in the spring and summer, your eyes see more sun. That light tells your brain to produce less of a hormone called melatonin. And less melatonin generally means more energy, better mood, and of course the exact opposite happens in winter. Short days, less light, more melatonin, which for a lot of us can mean less energy and a bit of a lower mood. Your body literally has an internal calendar, and it's tied to how long the sun is up. Okay, so let's zoom in from that year-long cycle to the one you've probably heard of. This is the big one, the circadian rhythm. This is your master 24-hour clock. And when I say master clock, I mean it. Pretty much every cell in your body has its own little 24-hour clock, and they are all listening for instructions from this one central pacemaker, which, you guessed it, is mainly set by light. Now, getting this rhythm right isn't just about feeling awake or sleepy. A wonky circadian rhythm is tied to all sorts of major health issues. But here's the real kicker for what we're talking about today. When your 24-hour clock is off kilter, your brain's ability to just measure the passage of time, even a few seconds or minutes, gets totally messed up. So the amazing thing is, you can actively take control and set this clock. And the way to do it is pretty straightforward. You want to get as much bright sunlight as you possibly can during the day, especially that first hour after you wake up. Then, at night, you do the complete opposite. You avoid bright lights. It's that contrast between bright days and dark nights that really anchors your internal clock. And hey, exercising at a regular time each day helps lock it in too. Okay, so we've done the 365-day clock and the 24-hour clock. Let's zoom in even further to a rhythm that happens over and over again while we're awake. This is called an ultradian rhythm, and it is the absolute key to unlocking that state of deep, focused work we're all chasing. The magic number here is 90 minutes. It turns out our brains seem to work best in these 90-minute bursts of high-level focus. And this isn't just some productivity hack someone made up. It's a real biological thing. It's tied to the natural ebb and flow of chemicals like dopamine and acetylcholine that let you really dive deep into something, whether it's mental or physical work. And this is the part you really have to remember. You get to decide when you start one of these 90-minute focus blocks. You can sit down at 10 a.m. and say, okay, go time. But what you can't do is negotiate with biology. After about 90 minutes, your performance, your ability to focus, it's going to drop off a cliff. You can't just power through. The system needs a rest before it can fire up again. All right, now we're getting to the really cool stuff. How your brain decides from one moment to the next if a minute feels like a minute or if it feels like forever. It really just comes down to a couple of key chemicals that act like tiny little stopwatches inside your head. So check this out. It's a surprisingly simple relationship. When your brain is full of dopamine and norepinephrine, these are the chemicals of being alert, motivated, in pursuit, you actually overestimate how much time has passed. In studies, when people are in this state, they'll hit a button and say, a minute's out, when it's only been like 38 seconds. Time feels like it's absolutely flying. But on the flip side, when serotonin is in charge, the chemical of calm and well-being, you underestimate time. A minute feels way, way longer than it actually is. And to see this in its most extreme form, think about what people say happens during a car crash or some other traumatic event. That massive, sudden flood of dopamine and norepinephrine causes the brain to overclock. It's like your internal camera suddenly ramps up from filming at 30 frames per second to 1,000 frames per second. The result? You perceive everything in super slow motion, taking in every last detail. So now we can finally put all the pieces of the puzzle together. We can solve that vacation paradox that we talked about at the very beginning. It all comes down to this really fascinating difference between how we experience time and how we remember it. Okay, so you're on that amazing vacation day. Everything is new, it's exciting, it's engaging, so your brain is just pumping out dopamine. And as we just learned, when that happens, your internal stopwatch is ticking away like crazy, super fast. You're perceiving so many frames every second that the whole experience feels like it's over in a flash. But here's the twist. Because your brain was overclocking, because it was recording that day at such a high frame rate, the memory file it created is absolutely enormous. It's dense and packed with rich detail. So later on, when you hit play on that memory, it takes a long time to unspool. The experience felt short, but the memory feels long. It's a complete inverse relationship. Pretty cool, right? So let's bring this all home. Let's make it practical. Knowing all this stuff about how your brain builds time isn't just a neat party trick. It actually gives you a powerful way to structure your day and to feel more in control. And the key to all of it is habits. See, when you create consistent routines at regular times, you're doing more than just being productive. You're actually using your brain's own chemical system to your advantage. Things like a specific morning routine, a walk at lunch, a ritual before you start work. These create predictable little hits of dopamine. They become time anchors, carving your day up into clear, distinct chunks. They create what you could call functional units of time. And that gives your whole day a feeling of structure, of meaning, and of control. So the crucial takeaway is this. Your experience of time is not something that just happens to you. It's something your brain is actively building every single moment, using these huge yearly cycles, these daily rhythms, and these tiny chemical stopwatches. So the real question, the one you can take with you is, now that you know how it's built, how are you going to build your time?